Let's have a look at the grid and how they line up for the second race today. The Castrol 1-2 once again, Perkins and Ingle, Brock and Seaton off the second row.
John BOWE in the Shell HELIX Racing Falcon, Greg Murphy from the third row, Wayne Gardner, Coca-Cola Racing, and Mark Scaife.
We work it back to row 5, John Faulkner, Mark Larkham, they share that one. Dick Johnson and Steve Reed, they're off the 6th.
Row 7 is Tony Longhurst and the Castrol Ford, Darren Hossack, Danny Osborne and Mike Conway.
We go back to the 9th row, Finnegan, Heffernan, Steniken and Richards. Getting ourselves ready for a start. Things looking good. Can it be another Castrol 1-2? We'll have to wait and see. Watch Seaton in the middle. We are away. Perkins got away to a good start, but so too did Russell Ingle. Ingle's got the outside run and the Enforcer will take them through the first corner.
Great move from Ingle there. Just came look outside the boss. Mark Scaife in trouble. We take camera aboard. Gibson Motorsport Commodore. He's gone right off the line. And he joins right at the back of the field. So, after that great start by Scaife, muscling up from 15th position in the first heat, now he's got a lot of work to do.
Mark, I just got a quick glimpse too that there's some problem with Greg Murphy. He is right at the back of the pack. I just saw him back there with Kevin Heffernan in it as well. So, problems for Murph.
Riding aboard Dick Johnson's Shell 17 Falcon, muscling the back of the better electrical Commodore. Shell HELIX camera takes you aboard as Johnson looks for a run down the outside of Faulkner on this first desperate lap.
Dick Johnson. Oh, Faulkner, he's gone! You were riding with Dick Johnson when that happened, and Faulkner has just gone off the track on the Dunlop straight sideways at a very high speed.
Well, also to miss an accident, Greg Murphy has spun out also. That's 2 times in the first lap.
Look at the amount of mud on the infield from that rain yesterday. Still very boggy offline. That contact between Dick Johnson and John Faulkner. Murphy's come off as well. Faulkner now trying to get back onto the track. Let's look at this on the Shell HELIX replay. Faulkner moving across and bang! Johnson just held his line. And Faulkner's gone for a huge lose right across the infield.
Well, he was lucky. Oh, how lucky were those marshals, the officials, as he may have just made the slightest bit of contact. I don't think he did, though. His boot came up. Longhurst went off as well, and so too did Murphy. We can't get a shot of that. We don't have the shot on screen, but Murphy went off there as well. Unbelievable.
So it's Commodore 1, 2, 3, 4 at the front of the pack. First of the Fords is Glenn Seaton and the Ford Credit Falcon with John BOWE. Good start in the Shell 18 Falcon, muscling the back of the Ford Credit Falcon. So all kinds of drama on the opening lap of Heat 2.
Charlie O'Brien, what did you make of that?
Well, I don't think Greg Murphy was just trying to miss all that, but Dick Johnson there was just minding his own business, and Faulkner, I'm sure, didn't see Dick up beside him and just moved over on him.
Well, he was so lucky. Here it is from another angle. There's contact there. This is with Mark Poole. This is the Greg Murphy incident. So it's very similar to the Johnson-Faulkner incident. Murphy's come in contact there with Mark Poole, and Greg went flying off as well.
Well, he won't be very happy about that either. Murphy, 4th in points coming into this round this weekend. He really wanted to get another strong performance after that domination at Symmons Plains. Now he's right back in the pack.
Well, Mark, he won't have to worry about John BOWE holding him up in this race.
And John BOWE is doing very well at the moment. He is up in 6th position. This is the order at the moment. It's Ingle, Perkins, Brock, Gardner, Seaton, BOWE, Larkham. Mark Larkham in the Mitre 10 Falcon is up there in 7th. Johnson, Finnegan and Reed. So a few of the privateers starting to sneak into the top 10 as well. But at the moment it is Russell Ingle, the Enforcer. He leads the way. 2nd in the championship points at the moment. He was leading it at one stage. Glenn Seaton is the man on top. But never discount Russell Ingle.
Well, I was talking to Larry Perkins after that first race. He said no really playing tactics with the Castrol team at the moment. It's still early in the championship. Larry wants to build his position as well. So he said if Ingle won the first corner, he wouldn't contest it with him, but he's going to sit right behind him throughout this race.
Peter Brock starting to catch up quite nicely as well on Larry Perkins. We'll keep our eyes on that. Great to see Wayne Gardner. He is up there in the top 4. So a good confidence boost for him after the first race. He did very, very well, finishing in 7th position. Now he's up a few positions better at the moment.
Well, it's a little bit more track temperature for this second heat, and the Bridgestone tyres probably will work a little better than they did in the earlier one.
Peter Brock all over the back of Larry Perkins. This is a lot closer than it was in the first one, but early stages yet. There you can see it on your screen, lap 3 of 15. We've got a long way still to go. Boy, oh boy, Marco, so these Castrol Commodores look very comfortable.
Just incredible, isn't it, how you can turn your fortunes around. They picked the right tyre groove for qualifying. Let's have a look at Russell Ingall on the windscreens. O'Brien, driver profile, winner at Bathurst in 95 with Larry Perkins, Australian Formula 4 champion. In 1990, headed over to Britain for the festival. Very strong over there too. Here's his progress so far. Third at Calder, first at Phillip Island, fourth at Sandown, hung on for sixth at Symmons Plains. That's held him in second position on the championship fight. He's really hanging on.
Just talking about his teammate for a moment, Larry Perkins. We were making mention and a bit of a big deal that it was his first pole position in Shell Australian touring car, as we see Greg Murphy going into the pits. So that is the end of his race. That will be costly, whether he stops and doesn't continue or whether he's just coming in for the guys to have a look at something. I was just getting back to Perkins. Of course, we should mention that Larry did get quite a few pole positions whilst racing in Europe in open wheeler competition.
Greg Murphy sitting there shaking his head. He cannot believe what's happened to him in the opening lap, that second heat. The boy's now trying to pull a lot of mud, maybe damaged some parts of the car on the debris when he went across the infield. But that is very costly, Charlie O'Brien. When you're chasing a championship, you've just got to be consistent.
Well, Greg certainly needed a strong finish here this weekend. There's Glenn Seaton giving Gardner a bit of a hurry up there, and looks like he might have his measure on this lap, Mark.
Look at Wayne Gardner looking across at Glenn Seaton, side by side. Seaton had a good run out of that corner, led him into the S's, so he picks up a position. And Tony Longhurst, goodness me, the brake assembly for that car is still inside the wheels. It looks like he's broken an axle. Look at the smoke coming off that brake too. So Tony Longhurst, goodness me, that must have been a wild ride.
He's going to check out the car now. That is really bad. Here's the Shell Helix replay.
You can see the axle there.
Longhurst being able to do anything about it. Just a passenger in his own car.
Smoke coming off those brakes. Longhurst walks over to inspect it.
Well, we haven't seen that before, Mark. The whole axle assembly coming out, maybe a couple of offs over the wet conditions we've had yesterday, and that spin there may have done a little bit of damage that created that.
Must be something every racing driver fears. Meanwhile, Gardner, Seaton's passed him. Now he's got John BOWE closing in the back, the Coca-Cola Commodore.
This is the battle for 5th and 6th. Wayne Gardner was up there in 4th position. Glenn Seaton now has taken over that role. BOWE starting to apply the pressure to Wayne Gardner. This is in the new section of the Winton circuit. Here's the windscreens O'Brien profile for Wayne Gardner, of course, as we all know, the 1987 World 500cc champ, 18 500cc Grand Prix, 3rd in Bathurst in 93 and 95. And there's some other results for you there.
Well, he's started off brilliantly at Calder with that win, his first win in the Shell Series, and it hasn't looked so good from there. Terrible 13th at Phillip Island, and really struggled for that winning form since. Now he's got John BOWE filling his mirrors, coming under plenty of pressure in Heat 2.
Well, we saw earlier in the earlier heat that John did a great job in defensive driving, holding off Greg Murphy. I wonder how Wayne will do holding John off.
Well, we should give a little bit of credit to Wayne Gardner. He is flying the Yokohama flag nice and high. The next Yokohama.
Oh, look at that! Now. John BOWE saw an opening and he went for it. Just don't take your eyes off John BOWE, and there's a little opportunity there. He will not let it pass. Snuck right down the inside. By the time Gardner was even turning into the corner, he was halfway into him, and a little touch just to muscle his way through. So BOWE in one swoop down the inside of Gardner. Now he's looked like he's come into contact. You can see that damaged bit of bodywork there rubbing on the tyre. So hopefully it won't cut into the tyre. How do you see that, Charlie O'Brien? Can he keep going?
It's on the wrong side there, Mark. If it had been on the other side, because the circuit predominantly turns right, he may have got away with it, but I really think that could create a problem during the race, seeing that's so early at this stage.
That's going to give Wayne Gardner a nice bit of incentive, seeing that smoke coming from the rear of John BOWE's car. Gardner's going to hound him. He's going to stay with him. He's having a look on the outside. He's a little too far back. Now he's going to switch it to the inside. He comes right up on John BOWE, letting him know that he is still there and wanting to get past. John BOWE's speed down the back section, 189 kilometres per hour, coming into the Motorsport News S's. The Shell Helix Falcon of John BOWE, the Coke Commodore of Wayne Gardner.
Now in this situation, Charlie O'Brien, your crew's probably told you that the bodywork is rubbing on the tyre.
Yes, they'd be monitoring that very carefully, and they'd have an idea whether it's actually cutting into the tyre. From Wayne Gardner's point of view, seeing that little bit of damage, it's quite amazing how much more incentive that it gives you to keep up, because you know that maybe there'll be a time comes that it will allow you a break to get through.
Well, not as happy a day today for John BOWE as it was in 1995, of course, the year that he won the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. Back then it was a 2-race format, and BOWE won both races that day on his way, as I said, to winning the 1995 Australian Touring Car Championship. He finished 6th in the first race, or rather 5th in the first race, and he's sitting in that same position right now. But how long he can hang on, we'll have to wait and see. The extent of that damage on the rear tyre, if it is in fact being damaged, it was rubbing earlier on, doesn't seem to be affecting it too badly now.
So back onto the new pit straight. John BOWE still holds that lead over Wayne Gardner. This is the battle for 5th and 6th. Ahead of them, Ingle leading the race, 1.2 seconds ahead of Perkins, Brock in 3rd, and Seaton in 4th.
Through the Motorsport News S is up onto the Shell straight once again. Gardner's dropped back a little bit, probably a couple of car lengths, but he's still staying in touch. You can see the second Shell HELIX Falcon there of Dick Johnson sitting in 7th position. Larkham maintains 8th, and Finnegan and Poole are still inside the top 10, 9th and 10th. Welcome back to Winton Motor Raceway. You're watching race 2, round 5, the 97 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. There's the Coke Commodore of Wayne Gardner, currently in 6th position, chasing the 5th position of John BOWE. They had a little bit of a wrestle earlier on. BOWE won that. He sits 1 position higher than Gardner at the moment, and Wayne hasn't been able to do anything about the gap between he and BOWE at the moment.
No, it's been a tough year for John BOWE and Wayne Gardner. Gardner got off to a great start at Calder. That win since then has really struggled, coming to grips with the new Yokohama tyres. And John BOWE battling with this handling imbalance in the Shell Falcon. It's been a typically gritty performance from the 95 champion, just hanging on by his fingernails and keeping that points championship ticking over.
3rd position at the moment, the 05 Mobile HRT car, Peter Brock. That's exactly where he finished in the first race. And he's looking pretty good for this one in the second. He's got Glenn Seaton that's starting to work fairly hard behind him, but he's some 4 seconds adrift. So whether Seaton can bridge that, no, he's no longer 4 seconds adrift. There he is, he's caught right up. So Glenn Seaton is in fact catching Peter Brock.
Yes, the times amongst these leading 4 or 5 very, very close. They're all running in the 1 minute 25 second bracket. They're all separated by just a few tenths of a second. There's a big drop when Larkham, a 1:26.9 his last lap. So that leading 7 very, very close on lap times.
Working it round, Peter Brock. Some valuable points to be grabbed here. I was telling you earlier on, he sits 7th in the championship, only 4 points adrift. And here's the Windscreens O'Brien profile. 9 times Bathurst and Sandown winner. 3 times Shell Australian Touring Car Champ, 74, 78 and 80. First in the King's Cup in Spa. The Shell Series so far this year, 8th at Calder, 9th at Phillip Island and 10th at Sandown. You can see there it hasn't been a very happy time for Brocky. But 2nd at Symmons Plains certainly gave him a good points balance, or a lift if you wish, to get him back up there.
Certainly gave him a personal lift too. He was very, very happy with the car. In a situation like that, when it clicks, you've got the right tyre, the right suspension setup, everything's working for you. Rocky's as quick as anyone under those conditions. But look how close Seaton is now in the Ford Credit Falcon, really closing the gap to the 05 Commodore. Seaton knows this is a critical race to his championship hopes. He wants to keep that buffer over Russell Ingall, so every point he can get from here on, critical.
Well, Mark, some people probably wonder how Brock can keep his enthusiasm going after the amount of years that he's raced and also what he has won. But I can tell you, when you see Peter Brock strap himself inside the car, it is like a 51-year-old man turning into an 18-year-old man. He has that much enthusiasm.
Well, at the moment, he's going to have bucket loads of enthusiasm to fight off another man who is full of enthusiasm, Glenn Seaton. The current championship points leader has caught up quite a big distance. He was a fair way off, around 4 or 5 seconds adrift of Peter Brock earlier on. He has now caught up. You can see there's the gap from our nice high camera shot coming into the Motorsport News S's. 192 kilometres per hour for Peter Brock, and we have 4 laps left to run. And it's going to be, if nothing else changes, another Castrol Commodore 1-2, but different result. Ingle is the man leading at the moment. Perkins is in second.
Peter Brock hanging on in third position. Sitting behind him. And further down the order, Mark Larkham in position 8. And he'll be looking for a consistent performance, because he's had one of those wretched years, as he has since he entered V8 Supercar a couple of years ago. It's really been a very tough initiation for this man. Check him out on the windscreens. O'Brien driver profile, Australian Formula 4 champion back in '89, and also the winner of the Amaru Park Series that year, second in the Gold Star, and first in the Indonesian Grand Prix back in 1993 in the Formula Holden. And there is his season, 16th. Big crash at Phillip Island, as we remember, on that first start. 15th at Sandown, 12th at Symonds Plain. So it's been a real struggle for Larkham in the Mitre 10 Ford. You talk to Ross and Jimmy Stone, the engineers of this car. They have full faith in Larkham, and they just needs the right opportunity, and they believe he can do the times and get the results. Let's hope so, because he really has shown an enormous amount of determination to hang on in very adverse conditions.
Something that we haven't mentioned so far this weekend, if you're wondering where Larkham's teammate is, Alan Jones. He has missed the 5th round. He will be back at the next one, though, at Eastern Creek in Sydney next weekend. Steve Reed in the ICI Auto colour Lansvale Smash Repairs car. He's going quite nicely, back in 12th position. He's been having to fight off the challenge of a very eager youngster, the Wins Commodore driver, Darren Hossack, who is enjoying his fifth drive in the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship, and he's getting better and better each time.
It was a great qualifying effort by Steve Reed in those wet conditions yesterday. 8th position on the grid. It was outstanding, and he really is enjoying his run at Winton, the new extended Winton Raceway. Darren Hossack, I've got to say, very impressive speed for a guy so new to V8 supercar racing. The Wins Commodore, the car always well turned out, and Darren learning very, very quickly.
Well, Mark, this track has certainly brought out a few surprises, as you said, with the qualifying. It's great to see 3 privateers up in the top 10, and certainly the rain has helped that. And there's quite a few more races to come over winter. We're probably going to see some more wet races before the end of the series.
Well, Steve Reed certainly enjoyed the wet conditions. It's his very first time here at the Winton circuit. Usually his partner in Trevor Ashby drives here, as we see John Faulkner in the Cummins. Fisher and Paykel entry, better electrical entry. He's got a bit of damage there on the back bumper. That's where he went flying off the circuit after coming into contact with Dick Johnson. We have some good inside pictures here of Faulkner at work. He is in 15th position, so not a bad recovery after a very scary off. Going down the Dunlop straight, what speed would you imagine he exited the track there, Charlie?
Oh, he would have come off there probably at about 170 kilometres an hour, and hitting wet grass. I can tell you, you don't slow down, you actually speed up for a little bit.
I just keep remembering those shots that we saw, the marshals, the officials were so lucky on that stand, that, and so too was Faulkner, that he didn't collide with that flag marshal's point. He's working hard as we watch Glenn Seaton and Peter Brock work hard. This is the battle, 3rd and 4th. Brock is going for his 2nd third in a row today. Seaton is trying to do his very best. I said to him yesterday, Charlie, Glenn, what's your outlook today? Are you just going to be fairly conservative and try and be consistent and get some points in the bag to help your champion? He said, no way. He said, I want to win. He said, I want to win bad. He said, I've got a good track record here at Winton, and I want to keep that going.
Well, certainly last night after qualifying, he probably his chances wouldn't have been quite as enthusiastic about winning, because he knows that this is a very tight track to pass on. And as I said before, Russell, Ingle and Larry Perkins, it's very hard to pass.
Checkered flag is out, and the win goes to Russell Ingle. Good work to Russell. There he is. He hasn't had to do too much enforcing today. It's been 2 comfortable races for the Castrol Commodore team. Another one too. Reverse order this time around though. Russell Ingle in for the win ahead of his team boss and team partner, Larry Perkins. Peter Brock did hang on for that 3rd spot. But for this guy, Russell Ingle, has been some terrific points for him today. 2nd, then a win, and a lot of points going in the bag to help him and his fight for the 1997 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. The Dunlop tyres seem to be working very, very well in the dry here at Winton. Someone who's not in the dry is the Lansvale Smash Repairs entry of Steve Reed. We were just talking about him and how well he was going. Now that to me looks like it's up in the new section of the track, Charlie, and he wouldn't have made it round to the finish line.
Very unfortunate there.
All right, let's have a look at your final placings on the Shell Helix race score. Russell Ingall and Larry Perkins, the 1-2 again. Brock, his second, third place of the day. Seaton and BOWE take up 4 and 5. We look back, Wayne Gardner hung in there for 6. Dick Johnson 7th. Larkham, a great result there in the Mitre 10 Falcon, in for 8th. Terry Finnegan and Mark Poole, they'll be happy about their top 10 finish as well.